So over the weekend, I did a poll to see if America had elections all over again, who, if anybody, would vote differently. And the results blew my mind. I couldn't believe it. But before I get into that and show you some of the comments and stuff that were left on my TikTok and their opinions of why their votes are where they are and why they would vote here or there, I wanted to talk about the Trump administration and basically have a review of what they have accomplished thus far being in the White House these past 60 days. So, anyways, let's jump into it. So, it just passed the 60-day mark about a week ago that Trump has been back in office, but so much has happened in just that short amount of time, and unfortunately, not any of it is really that good. But some of the most damaging things, or I guess not surprising of things, is I I put in a list um because there's just literally so many different things that have gone on since he's been back in office. So I'll start with the fact that he was not able to stop the Russia-Ukraine war. He's obviously finding out that it is way more complicated, but it still seems that he hasn't found out that Russia just doesn't want to stop this war. They have no intentions of quitting. They don't want to stop attacking Ukraine, and Trump just keeps on, for some reason, giving him the benefit of the doubt, making everybody wonder what is it seriously that Putin has on Trump with him just kissing his ass, giving giving Russia all these concessions on behalf of Ukraine, which is messed up all by itself. Um, and there's been already in these past 2 months already two failed ceasefire attempts, both Russia's fault. They are incapable of not attacking Ukraine. Well, I believe one of them lasted maybe even just a few minutes. I think definitely not longer than a few hours. That Putin just could not help himself from holding back his army and military from attacking Ukraine. So Trump holds absolutely no cards, as he would say, at least none that he's willing to use against Russia. He's not playing tough with them at all. Although in reality, if he could probably finish Russia off for good if he did do the right, correct moves. But it's an obvious thing he doesn't want to do that. So aside from the Russia Ukraine conflict, one other thing I may want to add that the minerals deal still has not been signed. The Trump administration keeps on trying to, I guess, move the goalposts, so to speak, with Ukraine, and they're changing things and not including certain things in the minerals deal. Ukraine needs a security guarantee. Plus, there's some things that may disqualify Ukraine from joining the EU if they were to sign this minerals deal. And Zelensky's not willing to do that if that is going to prevent them from being able to join the EU, the European Union. So, of course, after Zelensky made those statements about them not signing the minerals deal because these things weren't included, Trump immediately goes to threatening Zelensky and Ukraine. Oh, they got some problems and all this other just shit. I mean, he just yeah, somebody please show me one time he has ever played tough with Putin. One time. This Trump, I don't know. This guy is a despicable person, very un-American, regardless of MAGA and them claiming that they're so American. But let me just keep on moving along because I'll get a little more frustrated than I want to get. So the next unbelievable thing that this Trump administration has done is allowing Elon Musk to do the firing of federal workers and veterans by the thousands, just like that, without any legitimate reason they fired all of these federal workers and veterans when Trump campaigned on having veterans backs and doing what's right for veterans. And overnight, um, they did these firings without a really good reason to do so. So they're starting to finally open their eyes because a lot of them were Trump supporters and they are having huge regret, but not too many people have any sympathy for them because they now feel what a lot of Americans already knew was going to happen, which was Trump only taking care of his inner circle and the billionaires and not considering absolutely anything having to do with your average Americans. It's just a very unfortunate, scary time to be um, here in the U.S. in 2025. And that's not exaggerating at all. People that pay attention know that that's not an exaggeration um, to understand that this is scary times we live in right now. So, anyways, moving along. The next thing would be the Social Security and senior programs, getting rid of their lines of communication, closing social security offices, making it more difficult for seniors and anybody needing to go to that office, that much more difficult, claiming that there's all this fraud everywhere, yet there hasn't been one indictment. Fraud is a crime. People get arrested for fraud, and they haven't announced not one indictment on one person, but they do claim that there are 300 and whatever year olds getting social security checks. I promise you, there's not one 369-year-old getting any kind of social security check or anything. Um, but that is what they are telling Americans, and it's not true. So that is very dangerous because about half of Americans believe it. They are spreading misinformation. So that's always a dangerous thing because then you have them repeating it. They hear it from this Trump administration, they turn around and repeat it, and it's completely false. It's untrue. So, moving away from that subject, the next thing that I have that I want to talk about is our national security seems to be in shambles. The people that are running it are completely incompetent and can't go what seems longer than a week without screwing up something else. And I'm referring to last week with Pete Hegseth leaking all of that information and the genius um, national security advisor Michael Walls. I always get those guys' names mixed up. But anyways, with them being just very incompetent, not really caring about our national security. So another thing, I mean, Pete Hegseth couldn't help himself from screwing up. Just barely, I believe it was yesterday. He's having his meetings with his counterparts around the world, and he brings his wife in to um, their talks. That's she doesn't have a security clearance. She definitely shouldn't be in there, and that's just another way that he is not caring about our national security. Um, Either that or he just doesn't care, and he knows that Trump is not going to hold him accountable in any way, shape, or form, which is pretty much a spit on the face of all Americans. They are every single time they do this type of thing, they put Americans at risk and other people are allies around the world. But aside from that, the next and probably last thing that I want to talk about is the dismantling of congressional made agencies and programs. Uh, they got rid of a ton of inspector generals. These are people that are supposed to be holding this Trump administration accountable. Now, looking at it from the outside in, it makes a lot of sense of why Trump and his administration would want to get rid of them. They don't want anybody holding them accountable. Um, they're they don't want anybody to be able to go to these inspector generals so they could do their own investigations into this Trump administration because clearly, in my opinion, they plan on doing a lot of unlawful things and not be held accountable for it. So that is absolutely a dangerous thing. I do not know how they've been able to get away with it with so many things in this short amount of time. They have literally flipped our country and everything we stand for on its head. Um, this is absolutely dangerous. And to me, it seems like they're laying the groundwork for something very dangerous in 4 years. I highly doubt that Trump is going to want to give up his power in 4 years from now. Uh, it was a perfect example of January 6th. He didn't want to give it up then. Why would he want to give it up in 4 years? So there's even talk about him wanting to run for a third term, which isn't a possibility. It's not supposed to be. Presidents are not supposed to be allowed to run for more than two terms after uh, Roosevelt back in World War II when he passed away as president in his fourth term. Probably literally the best president, if not in the top three this country has ever had. Trump isn't even in the top. He's probably dead last, to be honest. So, anyways, back to what I was saying. Last thing I'll talk about is this poll I did on TikTok over the weekend. It got about 6,000 comments, 60,000 views, and unfortunately, the majority of them, an overwhelming amount of people were still Trump supporters. But one thing that they all had in common, every time I tried to talk to them, asking them why they supported Trump, what's your favorite thing that he's done so far, or anything of that nature, nobody knew anything that he's been doing. All these um, leaking of secret messages, of classified information, the deportation of innocent people with no due process, dismantling of certain programs in our government that are supposed to be helping our citizens. Majority of them don't know any of this stuff. They do not know what's going on. And if they did, which I think maybe literally there was one or two that tried to say why, but it was just inaccurate information. None of them knew what was going on. It was the few times that they did say anything, it was completely inaccurate information. It was completely untrue. It was the stuff that you hear coming out of Fox, to be honest, which is, for those of you that don't know, a news network that has been sued for telling lies on their airwaves. So that is absolutely dangerous. So my conclusion with this is, even though there's still comments coming in, views that are coming in on that post all the time throughout the day, and I did it on Saturday, I believe, and today, what we're going into Wednesday, um, I'm sure it'll still get a ton more comments. But anyways, I'll keep an eye on it, and we'll see what else happens throughout the week, and we'll go from there. So hopefully, I'll be able to make another video this week. And other than that, one thing before I get off, there is a campaign going on right now with Car for Ukraine. There's a ton of influencers, ATP, Geopolitics, The Shields, a bunch of people, Mercado Media, Ukraine Matters, just a bunch of really big YouTubers that are involved in this fundraiser for trucks for Ukrainian troops that they could use on the front line. This absolutely will save lives. It's very important that we help in any way we possibly can. And if that is just you sharing this video, watching other content creators spreading their message, sharing their videos, having Ukraine's back in any way possible, that's you doing your part. So if you can't chip in a few bucks, 5, 10 bucks, more if you can, then just at least share these videos and spread the word. That should be enough there. So anyways, I'll see you guys on the next one. Bye. So if you could vote again, or they redid the elections, who would you vote for and why?